everyone, and welcome to Drilling Deeper at mining.com.au. I'm Oriel Morrison. Joining me today is Dr. Mike Jones. Mike is the MD of Impact Minerals. Mike, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Oriel, and great to be back on mining.com.au.
You've got some really exciting news to share with us today. You're acquiring a 15% stake in Alluminous. Can you tell us about this? It's a fairly complex situation.
Well, in the end, the most important thing is that we will gain access to a technology to produce high purity alumina, which is what Impact is known for through its Lake Hope project here in Western Australia. That technology is going to allow us to access the HPA market probably at least 12 to 24 months earlier than we were hoping for, and that in itself is a deal that's worth millions of dollars to us. So it's been a deal that we've been working on for 3 months, and I'll give you a bit of background to it. And the end result is that we're going to be in a incorporated joint venture. We're going to be common shareholders with a company called Alluminous Proprietary Limited. We're going to be the 50% shareholder, and a group of others that we'll talk about will own the other 50%. And so we'll be the largest single shareholder in a company that is buying the assets of a company called Hypura Proprietary Limited, and that in itself was a subsidiary of Chemex Materials Limited. Now, Chemex was a competitor of ours in the HPA space, and it went into administration in early January. And so we've been working on this deal since then, and got ourselves to the top of the pack in a group bid with the other shareholders in Alluminous, which will mean that we'll own now 100% of Hypura, which owns all the intellectual property, the patents, and in particular some assets which we'll talk about that are all in Hypura. And so it's a great deal all round for Impact and its shareholders.
Well, congratulations on that, Mike. That's very exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about the technology that's involved, or the Hypura HPA process that you've been referring to, and why that is so important to Impact?
So in the high purity alumina space, there are basically two different types of feedstock that you can use to make high purity alumina. So one is a natural feedstock, such as we're planning to do from our Lake Hope project, and there are a variety of types of that, but ours is a sulfate mineral that is easily processable. And then the second one is to use a chemical feedstock, and there are a number of other sources that you can use that are basically off-the-shelf chemicals that you can take and purify to make the high purity alumina. So the Hypura process is what's called a solvent extraction process. It is designed to work on relatively pure material to start off with, and it produces HPA through a flow sheet, which again is relatively straightforward. So with our current process, we're using a variety of alkaline leaches and acid leaches to get to our HPA, but both work equally well. So, but the significance is that with the solvent extraction process, that they have a pilot plant that's already built, and so we can get material out of that using a chemical feedstock relatively quickly. But we can also back engineer it, we believe, at this stage, to take the Lake Hope material and also push that through, and that actually might be a cheaper source of feedstock for the plant. So it looks like we've got like a lot of options, and that's exactly what this has given us. It's given us huge optionality on how we move forward from here. But the single most important thing is that in a very short period of time, we hope, subject to turning the plant on, is that we're going to have material that we can start handing out to customers and clients. And that's really what this industrial minerals business is all about. You've got to form the relationships with clients and provide them with the products that they need. So all in all, a fantastic step forward for us.
Now, what's also very interesting with this particular deal is you've still got the input of the original Hypura inventors. What does this mean to you?
So, as I mentioned, Chemex did finish up in a bit of a mess, but the two people that started that company, David Levy and Nick Wellen, were actually instrumental in getting the Hypura process going. And in fact, Nick actually invented the patents that actually had the patents originally for the process, but they were vended into Hypura, hence they're owned 100% by that company. So he's an expert in solvent extraction. David had all the background, the marketing experience, etc., to really push this thing forward. And so they're going to be involved in the private company, Alluminous, as the CEO and technical director, and pushing it forward. So it won't take a huge amount of management time from ourselves. Our focus will be trying to back engineer the Lake Hope material and seeing if that can make a contribution to what they're doing. So look, having the original founders involved is a huge depth of experience that we can tap into.
And just briefly, Mike, what's the path to market from here?
So the other shareholders in Alluminous, at least some of them in the first instance, are a couple of North American investment companies. One standout is Amvest. They're a well-known resource-focused advisory service, and they also have their own fund. They're also co-investors into Alluminous, and they actually have quite a bold business plan, which is turn the plant on, commission it, scale it up, and that scale up will involve potentially building a next stage plant, a larger production facility. The current pilot plant should be able to produce at least 25 tonnes per annum of HPA, and look to scale that up and be able to build something perhaps in North America with a view to listing in some way, shape or form in a North American exchange over the next couple of years. So that's a huge business plan that we look to help put into action.
It is a huge business plan, Mike. I hope we'll be first to know about that IPO when you decide to go ahead. Thank you for joining us today.
Certainly, Oriel. Thanks very much, and you'll be hearing a lot more from us over the next few weeks.